agenda. That's
God
fine.
damn it! We can never just have a normal intro. That's just not
Never.
possible. It's just you know what?
Never.
You know what? Just we're gonna just steamroll through. We're just gonna
Yes, we
barrel
are.
through this train
Absolutely.
wreck that we call Recap Thursday. Last time, we finished killing some guys.
We did.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the horse archer that was having a really bad day, broke his bow, got flying tackled by Evander off his horse, is
Yep.
now at the mercy of our group.
He is. Jeff also reminded us that we fled Castle Wallace,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
This.
and he just let us think about that for a while because we left behind Ellie side quest, who
Already
really is no
completed. Already
she really
completed
is
it.
no longer our problem.
Already
So
completed, and we
yeah,
already got the reward for it.
yeah. So that I really don't give a shit about. But we also
25 gold. Yes.
but we also left Val's sister.
Who is technically a mercenary, and the reason that they went to Castle Wallace was to fight.
Yeah,
That was
so
like the
she's
whole point
yeah, they're getting what
of them going. So
yeah. So that's
technically,
fine.
it's just their job.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, he just let us think about that for a little bit. But yeah, we do have the hostage. It was yeah, the guy that lost his bow, who is shit at having a bow. So Evander takes the guy, throws him in the middle of the group.
Yeah.
Um, Meanwhile, Nurhaz loots the bodies because Nurhaz.
Yeah.
And he finds I literally wrote down word for word, finds a bunch of shit. And he
Descriptive.
does. He does. He totally
Descriptive.
does. Bye. Later. Okay, yeah, so he finds a bunch of shit, including like weapons and armor and stuff and gold and all that goodness.
Hmm.
Um we do also get horses because
Yeah.
the Americans left behind a couple of horses. We do manage to wrangle three.
Mm-hmm.
Zyron wrangles them by whistling,
Oh.
and
Hey, I hurt my
Evander.
leg. I'm not about to run. I'm not about to run around
Yeah,
chasing horses. So yeah, I literally whistle and two of them come.
yeah, and then
That
Evander
was awesome.
manages to grab one. So we now have three riding Amarian horses and three pack draft horses, which is great.
With
Um,
armor.
with armor,
Horses with
yeah,
armor.
the Amarian horses have armor, so that's
The
awesome.
Marian armors have horses.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
You want to go over what Nerhas finds when he's looting the bodies, like on the Marians?
I didn't write. You go for it.
Oh, okay. So, the Marians, he basically strips them of the clothing, and he finds that the Marians have a peculiar, I want to say, like tradition or ornaments, like facial and body ornaments that look very painful. I think it's like inserting uh, like metal in their skin to create very
Yeah,
like to create designs, and like they're not necessarily piercings, but they're like tattoos, but they're metal objects,
that's
and
right.
it's very beautiful, but it's very painful looking anyway, and it's weird to us, but you know, if you
Oh,
look at it, they would be like some of the men there would be considered very handsome in American culture. At least
yeah.
you would think. There was that one assassin with the whip chain, or the metal, yeah, the metal whip. I think, I don't know what he called it.
With the
But
spiky
he does,
chain?
yeah, the pike. There you go. It's a spike
Yeah,
chain,
yeah.
which is basically a metal whip. He doesn't have any markings on him.
No.
So
Yeah, none
he's just
whatsoever, which is
regular.
a little weird.
which is a little weird, but we don't know much about American culture, so who the
Yeah.
fuck knows? Yeah, so that's basically what he finds, and we made a joke about Americans like inserting their genitalia with the metal, and their house is like, yeah, nope, not that committed.
Yeah,
Not gonna.
like not that coin purse. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the guy, yeah, did you talk about the leather cap and the face wrap?
Oh no, no, that's
Okay,
not.
so he's got this like face wrap. And so we removed the
I imagine like the Voldemort face wrap in like the Sorcerer's Stone. You know
yeah,
where
yeah.
where Quirrell kind of just like unwraps. Yeah, that.
Totally sure
Hey.
if that's what you think.
Visual. I'm
Yeah,
just.
so he's got the face wrap. We take that off, and then underneath is like a red cap, a little cap on his head, a leather cap, and then yeah, he's there's like the ritual scarring and shit.
Not, not,
Um,
not the red caps yet. That's that's spoilers. It's just a leather cap. It's a leather cap with the
leather
wraps.
cap.
Yeah, it's not red. Those are
Yeah,
a different
it's just
thing.
well, you
Okay.
just spoiled it. Nobody's gonna see.
Oh well.
Uh, so yeah. Anyway, so the tied up guy groans awake because I mean, there's really no other way. You can't stay unconscious when somebody ties your hands with a spiky chain, which is what Ileana did. Just ties the guy up with a spiky chain because
Fucking
fuck
brutal.
every because she's
Fucking
like I
brutal.
want to be a little
Bit.
jerk today, so let's tie this guy up with some fucking chains. So yeah, he ties the ties the guy's hands, and she looks at him and she asks him if he speaks Therend.
Mm.
Um, and he's like, I wouldn't dirty my tongue with that. Or she asked him twice because the first time he just kind of looks at her, and so she just gets a little more mean, and asks him again, and he says, "Oh, I wouldn't dirty my tongue with this foul language, Sendorian." And he says this to her, and she understands it, but he's
Mm.
not speaking Theron. He's speaking Amarian.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go
Ileana,
figure.
all of a sudden, can understand Amarian, and she can speak it back to him. And then she asks him, "How how do you know I'm from Sendor?" And he says, "Oh, well, like your accent's obvious." Um, and then she asks him why he's joined Banwick. Doesn't say anything.
Nope.
He starts to be a little flippant. Um, and he's like, "Well, there's no point in me like if you're just gonna kill me, there's no point in me giving you any information." And she's like, "Fine, I'll make you a deal. Um, like if I let him go, then he'll give me information." So he's like, "Okay, fine, let me go. I will tell you what you want." So he says he's just a soldier and he's only following orders. That's what they all say. um, his so she asked for the name of his commander and he gives her this like ridiculous name of like a guy from a story. Um, and she like calls bullshit on that. She's like, "That's not his real name. That's totally." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." So it's just
Sinbad. His name is Sinbad.
yeah.
Wait a minute.
She's like, no, no. So then she asks what the army's plan is. He says that they're going to take the castle, and then after that, they're going to take the next one, and they're just going to keep going, taking all the castles. One's clearly not enough. Gotta
They're
take all
just
of them.
trying to find the princess, okay? And they just after each
She's
castle, they
always
just
in
keep
another
it.
castle.
And they're
Exactly.
just always another one.
Yeah. So then she asks if anyone else has any questions. Holo's like really confused that Ileana is speaking in a different language fluently.
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone's when she first when she first starts, everyone kind of turns and it's just like, wait, what? But
yeah,
Zarin and Vander basically um make preparations, right?
yeah,
Because we're still kind of in danger staying here, so they're prepping the horses and whatnot. So
Yeah. She does manage to squeeze out the real name of his commander after Evander tests some pressure points on this guy. The first one he tolerates, but the second one he does not like, and so he tells us that the name of the commander translates to um, most illustrious uh, Lord of Horse,
uh, uh,
Amar something something Al Hassan. It essentially means that he's the commander of the cavalry.
mm,
Um, so Ileana keeps that in mind and tells Evander to hold him still while she takes the spiky chain off of the guy's hands and wraps it around his neck. Um, to which the guy realizes that he's not gonna live, he's not gonna be let go. So he starts yelling at her and calling her a treacherous whore and like never trust a Sindoran, all that good stuff. And then he dies very, very gorily. Um, and his carotid artery is struck, and all the blood from said artery goes all over Evander and Ileana and everyone else within a couple feet radius.
gross,
Good time. Real good.
gross.
So after that, we Nurhaz is not stoked
Oh,
that that
you gave
his
Nurhaz insanity points.
that his
Congratulations.
I gave him 3 insanity points. Everyone else seems to be fine, but they are still a little weirded out that this even happened. Um, but that's okay. Nuraz wasn't stoked that I dirtied his spiky chain, so he takes it back. Um, it's
Nope.
gonna be like what's his face in the coat all over again.
Oh, oh yeah.
Nuraz,
During our two shot campaign. Ooh,
yeah,
yeah, I like
yeah.
it.
Marcus's character just got like infatuated with his coat.
All the
Uh,
insanity points.
all of them, yeah. So we continue on. Val tells Kuru to go find Leah, and so he flies to the town that we or the Castle Wallace that we just left.
Yeah. Before that, well, actually, well, during that, while we're prepping to leave, you
Uh,
wipe yourself off and
on some guy,
on some
some dead
guy's
guy.
clothes, I guess.
Yeah.
You do your best. Zyron comes up and says that you're driving,
Mm-hmm.
and and you say something cheeky or something, and after you hop on the horse and Zyron follows you, he leans heavily on Ileana and whispers, uh, I'm sure you can find. I'll leave it up to
Um,
you.
I'm sure you'll find a perfect lie.
Yeah, I'm sure. There you go. Yeah, I'll leave
Figure
it
it
up
out.
to you.
You'll
I'll
figure it out.
find out your yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and he falls asleep. He passes out on the back
He's
of
lost a lot of blood.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes. I
this.
swear I swear to God, it's just like -5 is the magic number for Zyron. It's just that's
Yeah.
twice now. It's
You,
just minus
you've been doing
five.
it for a long time. Yeah.
It's
So
just
yeah. While
anyway.
we're
Yeah.
leaving, so Val tells Kuru to go off and find Leah. As we're leaving, Val hesitates hard because she doesn't want to leave her sister behind. Um, but she's got her raven on it. So when he does fly into the city,
Mm.
um, he kind of lands in a little crenellation, and while we're riding, um,
Evander and Nurhaz are riding together. They're doubling
yeah,
up on the riding horse. Nurhaz has used all the loot that he has, and all our kind of gear or packs are on the whatchamacallit horses, the draft horses that
yeah,
the really shitty horses that we bought. And Ilian and Devril are sharing a horse, and Hollow and Val are sharing a horse. Now,
Val's in the front.
no, Hollow's not
Yes.
driving. Val's driving.
That's what I said. Val's in the front.
Oh, I thought you said
She's dri-
Hollow's in the front.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Hollow notices something weird going on with Val. She suddenly becomes very lax, and she just thinks that, it's because we're just trotting along comfortably. That she's just the horses are basically following the road, and we're not doing any strenuous riding. But she looks, over to Val's face, and her eyes are just glossed over in white.
Yeah, they're like milky, like full
Yeah.
on cataract
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah.
Just not normal.
Yeah.
So from Val's point of view, she sees black, and then it fades into Kuru's point of view, which is actually very jarring because it's got like bird movements, very like abrupt turning and stuff. So yeah, he's perched on a rooftop near the walls, and then he flies into a crenellation. And then he turns around and he sees Leah, and she has just loosed an arrow, which has probably hit her target dead on, and so
She looks
she
pleased.
she
So
look yeah she lets out a little smirk, and Fal's like cocky bitch, which apparently she's been like all her life. She's just been very she knows that she's a really good archer. Um, she then notices Kuru, and get finds him and like gives him a little scratch on his little raven head, and then she says to Kuru like, "Don't worry, Val. I'll be safe. I'll be okay." Um, so that kind of gives Val the peace of mind that she needs. Um, but she also notices that they're starting to bring like boiling oil up the wall, and they're like building trebuchets and catapults. Um, so they're essentially preparing for battle with a bunch of boiling oil and catapults and shit.
yeah. And same with the Amarians and Bannocksmen as well. Um, they're setting up like pre-made frames which can only be catapults and trebuchets. So
Yes, but
gonna...
the Americans do seem to be holding off. Like they're not attacking. They're like hanging back and
No,
planning.
they're taking their time with this
Yeah.
one. They're
So
they're,
they
they're
they
not...
are lining up in front of the gates, but and they're actually from the castle, which is probably what Leo was doing. From the castle, there are archers shooting at the Americans. And so they're just like arcing over the wall and picking them off slowly by slowly. And what Leah's been doing is that she's been shooting her arrow like a little bit further than everyone else's. And so as the Americans are like watching these arrows come down, and they're like, "Oh, we'd better take a step back," and Leah's just nails one guy because hers has gone farther than all the other arrows. Um, so yeah, like even though there are a lot of Americans, like Leah's slowly picking them off one by one, just because she's
Only a couple thousand more to go, right?
yeah, one at a time. It's like you gotta start somewhere. Uh, yeah. So then Val comes out of her trance. Holo asks if she's okay because she's like, "You went into a weird fucking state right there." Um, and Val
Weird.
actually she says that she thinks we've made a mistake leaving.
Ha! As
But
if.
whatever, we're selfish, so we don't care. So actually, we do notice a few ravens flying by, um, that aren't Kuru, and they fly overhead, and they've got little like white bands around their legs. And these guys are
Bands
going
on my
like,
feet.
yeah,
Bands
these
on my
guys are
feet.
going full tilt, like they're
They're
flying as fast
messenger
as they can.
ravens. They're messenger
Totally, yeah.
ravens.
Um, and then after this, someone wakes up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After a few moments, there's a stirring behind Ileana, and Deborah wakes up. He's very confused. What
Yeah.
What's going on? Where am I? Why are Miss Ileana? Why are we on a horse?
Why am I in
my,
so much pain?
yeah, my leg. What is
Yeah,
going on?
my
My
head.
head, my leg. Um,
Why am I bleeding everywhere?
it's yeah. And he just has so many questions.
Yeah. So Ileana tells him that that he started a bar fight and brutally lost. And it got so bad that we had to flee the town because Devril got drunk, got blackout drunk,
Uh
and
huh.
tried
Apparently,
to
I picked a fight with. You told me I picked a fight with a group of people. Evander wasn't
with the,
there. Like no one
I
else was there.
I told you that you picked a fight with a bunch of mercenaries,
Right. No.
which wasn't false. It just the outcome was different. So,
All
uh,
right. Yeah, and you said that, Evander wasn't there. Like nobody else was there, and
yeah.
that's how I got hurt, and we had to run. And
Yep.
classic Devril, ask, if, hopefully that no one
Oh,
else
is
was
everyone
hurt.
okay?
Yeah, it was. Is
Yeah.
is was anyone else hurt? Did I hurt anyone? Did we make trouble for the tavern? Like, hopefully we didn't break anything. Like, he's he's just going over, and he accepts. Like, he's like, well, if it's what you say is true, I totally deserve this wound, and
Yeah.
I'll
He doesn't question a
yeah,
thing,
nope.
which makes things so much easier for
And yeah,
Ileana.
and he is worried that he's going to trouble Evander again by asking him to look after this wound and patch him back up,
Yep.
and all of that jazz. So, but the group continues riding, and the road follows the river on the left hand side, and they ride for most of the day, and set up camp along the embankment of the river. Everyone takes a bath because they're covered with shit.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of blood. Evander looks over. Yeah, Evander looks over Devril, and Devril makes sure to take care of and clean up his new armor. And Nurhaz is very happy about that. He's just like, okay, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
And nothing really happens, right? We set up
So,
watches.
yeah, so Evander actually Devril's like, I'll take a watch, and Evander's like, no, you're going to bed and you're not going to take a watch. And Devril's like, okay. Oh, hi. Yeah, so Val takes the first watch, and all she hears is the babbling brook off in the distance. Um, what?
Wow.
She she hears hoofbeats passing, which are actually parallel to us, so it's um
Yeah,
not
they're
really a
they're
huge
not
deal,
on
and
the road.
they're very far off.
Yeah, they're not traveling on the road. They're traveling through the fields, um, but they come and go, and she doesn't, and then nothing else happens. So she doesn't actually
Yeah,
tell us about the hoofbeats at all in the morning. But everything goes uneventfully. Evander, Nurhaz, and Ileana's watch go uneventful.
yeah.
So yeah, the next day we actually make it to uh that is not the place.
Kessel,
Kessel.
kettle.
That's it.
Yeah,
Kettle. Yeah, to
kettle.
kettle.
It's spelled Kestel, but people
Right.
pronounce it kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which
then we
is
go
like,
look for supplies, but it looks
yeah,
like
it's
everyone's packing up to leave.
we noticed that after looking around, but it's a very small town, only about like 300 people. There's a couple hundred people. We make our way to the tavern, situate our horses there, and get some food. And Evander asks if he can, if they had
God.
any like supplies that he could purchase or like feed for the horses. So he does buy like a bushel of carrots to feed to the horses. Yeah, and we noticed that most of the people are starting to pack up. So
Mm-hmm.
news travels fast. We actually decide to stay the night there. since why
Yeah,
not? Um,
at the Fool's Purse, the
at the
local
yes,
tavern.
the local tavern. The innkeeper is a woman named Mally,
Yep.
and we ask what's going on. She says, that everyone's getting out, that they're basically trying to get us far. Some of them are going all the way to the capital. It's not Sarmoth.
Sarmoth? Sarmoth,
Is it
yeah, it is.
Sarmoth? Okay, it
Yeah.
is Sarmoth. Sorry, it's
So yeah,
Lady
some are going
Sarmoth.
to
I don't know.
Loniford.
Yeah.
Yeah, some are going to Loniford, which is where we're kind of headed.
Well, we're
Uh,
headed there, and then because it's like the road follows that, and then we're looping around to head north
yeah,
to Sarmoth, where
yeah, and
the
then
dwarven
yes,
stuff.
so that's
Yeah,
the capital.
yeah. So yeah, we decided to stay the night there. The inn is doesn't have private rooms. It's one big room upstairs with beds. So we basically each get a bed. It's like 5 copper each person. So
Yeah, 5 copper
yeah,
per person, and it's one big communal
yeah.
room
It's
that
like
everyone staying
yeah,
there is sleeping
it's like
in.
a lodge house. And there are 3 other people staying there that are not our group as well.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. It turns out that while we're we get our rooms and we're having dinner, uh, somebody approaches Devril, and
He
it's
sits down
yeah, he pulls
with
up a
us.
chair. Yeah, he pulls up a
Yeah.
chair and sits down, and it's Andrew, the man that Devril set free in Castle
Who
Wallace.
Yeah, who had been accused of witchcraft.
Witchcraft, yeah. Except the only crime that he committed was
Adultery.
adultery. That's it.
'Cause he's
So
the shit bag. And Jeff actually described him as rakish. He's a rake.
to be fair, the band was just I don't know. It takes 2 to tango. Know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah, he was just being a yes man.
That's
What's her
that's
face?
what we're
Fucking
going with.
Martha. Martha
Fucking
wanted to get
Martha.
it on. I think her name was actually
I
Martha.
think it was.
She wanted to
Actually,
get it on, and he was like, "Well,
she was feeling a
I'm
bit
already
lonely.
in your house, and you're asking me, so let's do this thing." And then when they got
Uh,
caught, she copped out like a little bitch.
like bitch, she was. Anyway,
Martha.
so Devril has a pleasant conversation. He introduces him to the group, and he basically asks what he's doing. Well, as soon as he got released, he basically dipped like right away, and he said he was going to Landon, right? Landon, headed up there.
He's heading to Lanniford.
Oh, Lanniford, that's what it's called. Yeah, he's heading to Lanniford, and he says, the roads are pretty sketchy. But everyone's going. So Devril, being Devril, offers him, says, we have a few horses. We're headed that way anyway. It's pretty dangerous on the road. I obviously don't want to speak for the group, but
You're
more than
welcome to come along.
You're welcome to come along with us. And he says, sure, absolutely. I could use the company, and I won't be any trouble. So that's it. Devril looks to the group. Everyone just nods in agreement, and we pick up Andrew to travel with us.
Yep.
So he offers to buy.
Party.
He introduces himself to everyone. He shakes his hand and he says, as thanks, let me buy you a drink. And
Ileana's like,
Deborah,
oh shit.
yeah, and Devril had this talk with Ileana about him being like, I'm not gonna be drinking for a while if that's what happened. But it's like I don't want to turn down your generosity. One drink's fine. Absolutely. But Ileana is just tries really
like-
hard.
Yeah.
She puts a hand on Devril's leg and
Yeah. Tries
says,
to like
maybe you shouldn't, and he'd be like, no,
Davros.
Devril pushes and says, Miss Ileana, he's being generous. It's thanks for for me, you know, setting
Yeah.
him free. It'll be fine. Like, just
And then
don't worry
he
about it.
and then Arthur's like, "Well, love, if he makes you feel better, I'll
Andrew,
buy you."
not Arthur.
Andrew.
Mm.
Did I say Arthur?
Yeah, you did.
Oh
Got
shit,
Arthur on the
sorry.
brain.
Sorry, yeah, I got Arthur in the brain. Always. Yeah, so then Andrew's like, "Well, if it'll make you feel better, I'll buy you one too." And she's like, "Well, I thought you'd never ask," and completely drops it.
Yeah.
Um, and so he gets us some drinks, and as like first sip, and Zyron is out of the
No,
bag.
no, no,
First couple sips,
yeah. He makes
and
it through
Zyron
half,
is
and
out.
he's talking, and then yeah, basically, um, Andrew goes in and starts chatting it up with the group, and halfway through his drink, Devril gets up and says, I think I need some air," and he
Mhm.
walks out. Who he is
Evander.
followed by Evander.
Evander
Evander.
notices. He's been noticing the voice change for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
And
persona, the attitude, the
he's been
voice change.
growing very suspicious
Yeah.
the past few days.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this whole time, Val has been outside of the tavern, basically sitting on the porch. She's seems very out of it. She's just spacing out. Um, yeah, and Devril walks out, or Zyron walks out of the tavern and goes over and starts checking on the horses and petting them, followed closely by Evander. And they have a conversation. Evander points out that he seems to he's noticed, right? He's noticed, and Zyron's not hiding it, and he says simply that doesn't everyone have show a different face to different groups of people. Vander says, well, usually you stick to one face with a certain group, and uh,
Yeah.
Zyron's just like, well, it
Is
happens,
there a
right?
problem? He
Yeah,
asks
it's
this,
like,
and yeah,
yeah. He does ask, just like it's not a problem. Like, there's no problem, is there?
yeah.
Um,
No, Evander replies to that saying that it hasn't been a problem since that one night in the field.
yeah.
Uh, and then,
To which Zyron says, it's Ileana that's the problem. And Vander chuckles to himself, and he's like, well, women, right? And Zyron's like, I'm glad you're so understanding, and they have a laugh about it. Uh,
yeah.
and
But he
he
does say that he's very curious about the changes
yeah, and
that
he
Deverell
points out
slash.
yeah, and he points out that it's almost like a protector. Like, he makes this analogy of like a guardian, like a bodyguard, right? Like, their
Mm-hmm.
personality, like, one of them is a bodyguard and the other one is more of the I don't know. It was really hard. He was having a really hard time to explain, but I get what he was trying to say. Um,
Yeah.
the protect and the protector, and Zion doesn't necessarily disagree, but he says that it's a very poetic way
You loyal.
of
Mm-hmm.
of saying it. Like, it's too pretty for what
Yeah.
the real thing actually is.
I'm
and
just
he
gonna
and
shut
he
the door.
yeah, and he goes back inside, um, back into the tavern, and he goes directly to bed. And by the way, thank you, Q the King, for the follow. Appreciate the support, man. Um, yeah, so he goes back inside and he goes straight to bed. And after a while, everyone starts heading to bed. Evander notices that Val's out there. He takes off his cloak and gives it to Val before he heads inside. And after
Aw.
Evander heads inside, she kind of snaps to it and smiles for it. And Val doesn't end up sleeping that night.
No,
well, she
not at
can't.
all.
Yeah, she can't get to sleep. So, yeah, she's pretty fatigued in the morning. But morning rolls around and
Actually, hold on.
oh, go for it.
Um, Nurhaz has a relic.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah. So he goes through his bag and he finds this relic. It's a solid steel box, quite small, and inside it's got a really tiny shard of
It's on
steel.
his person, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's on
Uh,
his person like a
uh,
necklace. Yeah,
okay.
and
Well, anyway, it's a tiny steel box. It's got a really like an even smaller shard of steel inside of it. Around the box there are runes. Which
Dwarven runes. Yeah.
yeah, dwarven runes which my tongue is not working. Which I know how you feel now. Which detail an ancient dwarf with the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
The dwarf's name is Asdar Makran.
Yeah.
And the shard is a piece of his armor.
Mm-hmm. So
Uh,
he's basically the hero of Nurhaz's clan. The details is basically the biography of this guy, and all his achievements,
mhm.
and it in his final battle or something grand heroic, his armor broke, and this is the shard from his armor that is super important to like his clan or people of that clan, but it's just junk to anyone else. That's pretty
Yes.
much it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, so now morning.
Yeah.
We can
So
talk.
morning rolls around. People head down for breakfast for cider. Devril puts on his armor. And or yeah, takes his time putting on his armor, and Eliana wordlessly goes over to help him. Once he's done, yeah, once he's done, uh, he turns to leave without a word, but stops himself and says that he was right in thinking that murder doesn't suit Ileana as he heads downstairs, leaving Ileana to stew over that. And you should know, by the way, that everything that I've said to you, like in one way, shape, or form, though it doesn't make sense to you now, always has like like I've never said anything to you that doesn't make
I
that
know.
isn't relevant, right? Like I've been
I
very
know.
particular with everything that I've said to you, and I've never just said shit just for the sake of saying shit, right? I just want to remind you that that's a thing, right?
I
Okay,
know, but I'm so slow
I
that I don't
she
that I
admitted
don't
it. Why? This is not something you should admit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm trying to be less. I don't want to be out front, right? Because there's stuff
Well,
that you
you
need to
gotta
work, but don't worry, don't worry. I
just give it to
I
me
I
when
already when I already said that I have something prepared
good.
when conditions are met.
Good. You gotta serve it
Conditions
to
are
me
met.
on a
I,
nice old
it'll be on a
bone
it'll
china plate.
oh, it'll be on the best bone china
Got
platter
some
for you.
forel,
Oh God,
whatever. I don't know.
it'll be good. It'll be good. It'll be good. I
Um,
promise you that'll be good. So
yes. So
yeah,
the Amarians are here.
yes, we hear
Uh,
hoof prints. We hear a multitude of horse beats off in the distance, heading towards
yeah.
Kettle. Um,
Yeah. So yeah, they do approach the town. They come into the town. But not all of them have their weapons drawn.
None of them
So
have their weapons drawn.
no, like a couple do, but they're not.
All right, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Um, so anyway, so like we quickly find some horse blankets to cover the horses with because they're definitely gonna
They have American
recognize.
armor on.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna recognize their own horses and
Yeah.
the armor that their own horses are in. So we quickly drape them with some blankets. Outside, like across the street, there's a man trying to saddle a horse.
To like
Um,
run away.
yeah, to like escape. And an Amarian goes up to him and holds out a sword to the man's neck, and he's like, "You're not going anywhere." And so the man stops packing and goes,
Mm-hmm.
and he like motions him to the center of the town where like all the other citizens are wrangled.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
then they start
anyone's
raiding.
on the yeah.
Yeah, they start raiding the houses and the businesses. Um, and so, Val, so
Yeah,
this
we're
boys and girls is how we avoid the one planned combat that that the DM has for us.
yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure this was it. But our lovely, lovely caster Val tells us to talk a little loud so that she can sing and that nobody will notice her singing. She casts a spell on the like commander
Mm,
of this raid squad.
yeah.
Tells
Which by
him,
the way, sorry, just an offshoot. These are the Marians raiding because they're planning to siege Castle Wallace, so they're looking for food. That's
yeah,
basically it. Yeah. So
yeah, they need food and supplies. So she tells the commander,
he mind
leave.
fucks him.
Yeah, she says, leave with nothing but your men. And so the guy kind of um like sheathes his weapon, and he barks an order to his men and saying, "Drop everything. We're leaving now." And all of his men are like,
What?
"What?" But we just got here and we had orders to take shit. And the guy's
Yeah.
like, "I don't care. We're leaving right now.
Yeah.
Don't
His
bring any."
his second in command goes over to protest, and like the guy like backhands him, and
Yeah, yells at
basically says
him.
listen, it's like
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, totally.
Obviously,
Uh,
not all the men listen. If they have stuff, they were putting in their satchels or in the horse bags.
but
But yeah,
do
they
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 up and leave.
they up and leave.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
to
Val
which
admits she did
Yeah,
it.
to which, as soon as that happens, both Evander and Devril go over and ask Mally if is like a town mayor or who's in charge of the town, and she directs them to
The
the
alderman.
yeah, that's what he's called. Yeah.
The alderman.
Uh, and so we head over to his house and knock on his door, and man opens, and a beginning of a black eye is starting to form in one of his eyes. Looks like he got punched, probably by one of the Marians. Um, and he asks what we're doing, and Evander says the Marians are gone, but you should get everyone in the town to leave like right now, like as soon as possible.
Just
Yeah,
evacuate.
yeah, like you were planning to evacuate and take your time with it. Like, no, leave now, because they're gone. And he's like, "What? That's what happened. That's not like why would they just leave and not take anything?" And Devil says that it's a blessing, and the god of illumination is looking down or is looking out for the town. And he's like, oh, well, for sure, like, of course, we'll leave right away. And walking back, Devil, or I guess it's still Zarin because he's still
Yeah.
hungover. It's still in the morning. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Zarin looks over to Vander and says, I feel like calling Val the god of illumination is a bit heretical. And
Yeah.
Vander's like, well, it's not my god, right? It's not my god.
Yep. He doesn't care.
And Zarin says, I'm almost inclined to say the same. So you can say that Zarin is not very religious, despite being
No.
adjudicator. So yeah, so they make their way. The party mounts up, and
Devril offers Ileana a hand
oh, that's right.
onto the horse.
Yes, yes. Um,
Uh, and yeah, and
that was good. That was
she
good.
takes it politely. She
I love
doesn't
that.
say
That.
anything. She doesn't
Yep.
give him any snarky remarks or no.
Yeah,
She takes it.
Nurhaz has outfitted Andrew, by the way, with
Yes,
with
yeah.
armor and a sword and a shield,
Yeah.
and ask him if he knows how to use them, and he says, "I know which end to hold." Like, well, like, all right,
Yeah,
we
stick him
made
with
you
the
into.
pointy end, and the house is like, good enough for me.
All right, yeah.
So,
And Andrew gets one of the draft horses since we were only using two of them to carry our shit. So he gets
that's
one.
true.
And he can ride. Like he is wasted on the horse, not the other way around. Like we should have gave him one of the Amarian horses, but
Well, we
whatever.
only have
Yeah,
three, and
yeah,
there are six player characters. So
yep.
the
No,
NPCs get the draft horses.
get the
Um,
shitty one.
yeah, so we do start traveling until we hit a vast forest. And the way the forest is, it actually has like a definite border. Like there are no like saplings or anything leading up to it. It's like flatlands, boom, trees. Um, as we go up to it, Val actually feels very apprehensive and a little bit nostalgic
Mm.
um, about this forest. Uh,
This is
Devril,
this is the first forest that we have seen.
yes, because
Uh,
it's been fields
Plains,
and
just
plains
flat
for
plains.
days. Yeah, so Devril back in the driver's seat. Um, he likes the forest. He thinks it's
Oh,
pretty.
I I think it's
He,
beautiful. Which it
yeah.
is. Which it is. It's that's Jeffrey was describing it. It is beautiful.
Hmm.
Comparatively to all of the plains and meadows. And to be fair, it's a change of scenery, so it
It
would be
is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
So Devril's very, very intrigued by this. But Evander is also very apprehensive and really doesn't want us to go
he's
in there.
he's
He's
like
like he's
on
so
high, like he's on like paranoia level, like defensive, which
absolutely
the sun is going down, so we
yeah.
were thinking about making camp, and the road actually just skirts around this entire forest. Like the road
Oh,
doesn't go
that's right.
in,
Yeah.
and we're just
Yeah.
like that should be a thing, right? Like, well, that's weird. But Nurhaz,
Telltale
along
sign.
yeah,
They probably should go in there.
Nurhaz along with Devril, after hearing Nurhaz's plan, Nurhaz advises. He's like, well, we should camp inside the forest, provide us shelter and cover. If any of the Marians ride past, we'll be hidden. And Evander's like, nope, no,
That's a
don't do that.
terrible
Not this.
idea.
That's a devil. And like Devil's like, oh, why not? That sounds like a really good idea. We won't need a fire or anything. We can just go. And Nurhaza like it's just a couple. We can go just a couple feet in, right, or a couple 10 feet in.
Yep, and
And
Evander's like,
Evander's just like, nope.
F no. This is
He's
why.
just
So there
he's
are yeah, so
so
for the
against it.
forest, this particular forest is home to elves. The thing about elves in these lands that Evander
Well,
knows
all
from
forest, all forest
well,
belongs
yeah,
to
all for it. But
elves.
yeah,
Yeah,
the thing about elves in these lands is that
and
they
Theron.
don't take kindly to visitors. Like
Mm.
Evander's people in Gallica it's taken them hundreds and hundreds of years to get to a point with elves where they can coexist peacefully
Yeah,
without killing each other
yeah,
and and just having like crazy disputes all the time. Here in Therend, things are different, and Therenders are so not okay with elves, and elves are so not okay with everyone else. So if we slept in this forest, the elves wouldn't be okay with this. Also, the thing about forests is that monsters dwell in forests. To which pretty sure Devril like doesn't believe
No, Devril
Vander.
doesn't believe any of this. When
Yeah.
Evander's saying about the elves, it talks about the elves, so elves don't like intruders. Um, History lesson, and we Devril and Ileana know a little bit about it because of the town hall incident. Therenders are the ones that are responsible for uh, destroying and basically taking over this land that primarily belonged to the elves. They were in charge of, slaughtering all the elves, conquering this land, and making it their own. They're in charge. They were responsible for cutting down the forest and burning it away to make room for them. Like Therenders are
Yeah.
they're the evil
They're the bad
overlords. Yeah,
guys.
they're the bad guys. Um,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah,
war
they're
happened 1,500 years ago. Uh, yeah, and it still
which is
persists
not
now.
very long for
No,
elves.
no,
It's a long
there are
time for
still.
humans, but for elves, they're this is just a regular sized grudge.
Yep.
So,
Well, there. Yeah, it's like it happened yesterday.
yeah.
So yeah. When Evander makes it, he says like, well, we're not technically intruding. Plus, we have Val. If they come, Val, I'm sure can just talk to them and it'll be fine. And Evander's like, no. Elves will shoot first, ask questions later. Like, we're not doing that. And then he goes into the monsters, and Devril's very he's in very high spirits, and he has this jovial side that comes out, and he just laughs, he giggles and laughs about Evander talking about monsters, and he says, give it like, are you serious, Evander? Like, if you were going to scare us, you would have made something a little bit more believable, like monsters. I'm not a kid. Like, please,
Yeah.
please.
And so he's like, "Come on, Nurhad, let's go in." And
Well,
yeah.
no. It's we don't.
Yeah, we do.
Hold on, no. And Evander, Devril's like, all right, if that's what you say, we can camp out, outside in the meadow. That's fine. Like, that's fine. He still thinks that it's ludicrous, but if Evander's that strong against it, Devril did say that he brought Evander here for his knowledge, for his advice. So
Yeah.
he's gonna take it. Now, while we're setting up camp, in down the road, we see something protruding like a structure. Uh that This is where it happens. So while we're setting up camp, we see the structure, and Devril makes a joke and people ask, "Oh, what's that?" Devril makes a joke about it maybe being Evander's monster, uh, and says, why don't we check it out? Like, why don't we go over there? So the group heads up over there, and it seems to be a sentry tower, an elven sentry tower that's broken down. Like, it looks like it hasn't been in use for a while. The structure is very very nice. There's no use of mortar. It feels like the stonework is in such a way that it just fits together,
Hmm.
almost seamlessly. And Hollow, by the way, Andrew is like way the fuck back in
Yeah,
camp,
he's
and he's
like,
just
I'm
like,
gonna just
I'm
stay
just
with
gonna
the
stay with
horses.
yeah, it's okay if I stay here, right? So he's
Yeah.
just wants fucking nothing to do with this. But Hollow touches the structure, and she hears the howl of wolves, and
Hmm.
she looks very startled.
Oh my
And
God. Did you talk about the holo incident in town with the horses?
oh fuck, no,
Let me
shit,
talk about this.
shit,
So,
yes,
rewind back
rewind.
to when we're in Kessel.
Yeah, Evander has gotten the feed,
Yep, he's
Remember,
got
we're
the feed for the
we've got the
horses.
feed for the
He's
horses,
brushing
and
the
yeah,
horses.
we're
Holo
grooming.
comes out and she's brushing them too. Um, at some point, she drops her brush
Yeah.
and looks at the horse and like raises her. If she had hackles, they would stand up, and she like bares her teeth and snarls
She
at the
growls at the
horse.
fucking horse.
And the horse is like, this is messed up. Like
Super freaked out, like
humans.
super spooked. She's
Yeah. And so then,
spooked.
and she snaps out of it and she looks down. She's like, oh, I dropped my brush. And she goes to brush the horse. And the horse is like, don't fucking touch me.
Yeah. Um,
um, so
Evander
the,
notices this.
yeah.
Evander
And so he
notices,
says, okay, you're hungry. You're going to go inside. And Holo's like, but
but
okay,
horse.
bye, horsey.
Yeah.
So Holo's going through some weird shit right now.
Weird fucking
She
shit.
wanted to she wanted to eat the horse. She hears howling wolves.
Well, I don't know if she wanted to eat the horse, but
Well, she something about the horse
something
triggers
about the
something.
horse. All
So
right,
right
something about
now, Holo's standing in front of the structure with her
yeah. She
hand
puts
on it,
she
hearing
puts
wolf
yeah.
howling.
So she's pretty startled, and we're like,
Yeah.
what's going on? Like, is something wrong? And she's like, wait, you didn't hear that? And we're like, hear what? And she's like, never mind. And we're like, what? All right.
Yeah.
Uh, and we're like, okay, sure. So we enter this broken down sentry tower. And the first floor, it looks like it could house probably a dozen or so guards. Selvin structure. There's some broken steel swords on the ground, as well as some armor. They're not rusted. It literally almost looks like they're brand new, if not for the broken condition. At the back of the tower, though, a section of it is crumbled. And
Yeah, the far wall has been
yeah,
caved in.
it's caved in. So we can see deeper into the forest. This
Yeah.
deep, it's thick. There's bushes, and it's a very dense forest. And Hollow and Val head upstairs. Zarin, well, sorry, Devril soon follows. Wait, Evander noticed, like, on the way to the structure, because of Devril's jovial, very childish attitude towards all of this, Evander actually approaches Ileana and says maybe the other one would be better for this.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm on it, and she goes and
Yeah.
summons Zyron, and so Zyron's out for now.
Yeah, so and so Zyron follows up Hollow and Val upstairs, and there's walking up the stone staircase. There's arrow slits along, like super tiny too, and you're like, how can you even what? I don't but
How do
that's
you arrow through
how
those?
do you arrow what? So
Yeah.
yeah, and they reach the top, and Val
Start singing.
starts singing. That's what she does.
Hmm.
It's a very sad song. It makes us feel very depressed. Almost like
Yeah.
it's very mournful. And
And
to us,
she's
yeah,
actually enveloped in ghostly green light.
we
And
hey,
mist.
we know from our Pathfinder campaign that green is just no.
Green means bad, yeah.
Green means mm-mm.
Green means dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mist actually starts hovering over the ground now. Everything gets darker. Like not just because it's nighttime, but like shit's getting dark,
Yeah.
and Val's controlling it.
Yeah.
Um,
So
there's
we're a little bit
there's
spooked.
Yeah, there's actually an arrow slit in the wall above where Devril's standing, or where Zyron is standing. And we look at it, and there's this ghost elf.
Oh, we don't see this. hold on.
It's
Skip. You're
Val
skipping.
does.
Yeah, yeah. Skip it. Skip it. She does it. There's that green mist that's going. From her perspective, though, we start to turn. We start to look dead. Not
Yeah.
like rotting or anything, but it looks like we were just died. We're very pale, right? There's no color in our face anymore, and we start looking dead to her. After she finishes singing her song, the mist goes away, but her eyes are still because it lasts, right? She sings and like the buff last, or the effects
Yeah.
of the song last for like an hour, and basically from her point of view, she can see dead spirits. She can see the
Mm-hmm.
spirits of the dead. So
Mm-hmm.
from her point of view, there are these spirits of elves that are milling about in this tower, just like going through the motions of what they did in their lifetime. Um, and as you were saying, from her point of view, there's actually where Devril's standing with an arrow slit. The ghost of an archer is kind of like in or like through him as she's
Yeah, like
she's
standing right over him.
knocking a bow out, yeah,
Yeah.
and basically keeping guard.
Now there's one ghost that's going around, and he just seems to be wandering. Like he doesn't look like he has any purpose. He's just standing there kind of zoned, wandering around this tower. And he turns and he looks at Val. He sees Val. And he looks at her for a bit, and then he disappears and reappears somewhere else, and then he disappears and reappears again, and all of a sudden he's right next to her. And he she feels like he's staring into her soul. Um and then so she puts her hand out, and he puts his hand out, and they touch.
For the very first time.
Yeah. So and she feels like he feels cold, right?
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
he's he's uh he's solid to her.
Yeah.
He's solid.
Yeah.
To us, it just looks like she has her hand out in midair,
Yep.
and we're just
It's
like,
pretty
"What the
weird.
fuck's going on, Val?
Yeah.
All right,
Just
you."
don't wake her. You're not supposed to wake people that are
Yeah,
sleepwalking, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah. Her eyes are all fucked up, and we're just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but yeah, all
yeah,
right.
it's pretty weird.
Yeah. So yeah, she clasps his hand, that is there, and she starts asking him questions.
hmm
Do you remember, or did you write it down? Are we just
Um,
gonna go general gist on this one?
I have a bit of things. I'm sure together we can
Okay.
sum up the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I have that he says that the humans came and burned the forests,
Which we already knew.
which we kind of know.
Yeah.
I have a big gap.
All right. If
So,
you're gonna talk about the other stuff, yeah. He basically talks, and she asks what's going on here, right? Like who he is, and he tells him that he's a guard. They were stationed here, and as you said earlier, the humans came and they were going. He then also talks about how she shouldn't be here and how she should leave because of she can't fight them. And I forget if he mentions specifically, but he talks about like an entity that lives in this forest that she can't fight, or that they should leave, like she should leave, that it's not safe for her here. And then she asks what it is exactly that he's talking about, and he mentions something about the something called the elder blood that lives
yes.
deep in the forest.
Yeah.
she asks about it and what it is, and he says that it's something very old. That the elves know how to live in these forests because they can they know how to live in harmony with the other creatures in the forest, and those that they cannot live in harmony with, they know how to deal with. That's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
This is coming back to me now, right? And she's like, all right. And the she asks what this elder blood will do, and he says that if the elder blood will only like kill you.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa,
Oh,
whoa. So she says, "Should I go? Should I
oh,
go
yeah,
visit this thing?"
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yes,
he says, "If you value your freedom, no,
yes,
you won't."
yeah,
She says, "What'll happen?" And he says, "It will not harm you if you do not seek it.
yes.
You it will take,
Them
them it will kill."
kill. Yeah, yeah. I have that written down.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, and then he takes her face in his hand.
that sounds so weird. Just takes it off her. She
Yeah,
just
just
he grabs her face, takes
yeah.
it
So
off her.
she takes her face in his hand, and he says, "Go, sister, they're coming." And she
Da-na-na-na,
says,
da-da-na-na-na-da.
"Yeah." She says, "Who?" He says, "The red ones."
And
Oh, one second.
that
And he says,
is
"Fight
where
them." No, no, no. He says, "Fight them with iron and fury."
no. She says, how do we fight them? She asks. She's
Oh,
like,
with
how
iron
do?
and fury.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
second.
yeah. With iron, yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, we basically ask. She asks how, how do we fight them? He replies with steel and fury, not fire and fury. Uh, with steel and fury.
No, it was
So
iron. It was iron.
no, we have iron. Steel is the one that's rare. We don't have steel. The elves have steel.
Okay. I wrote down iron.
It's no. Iron we have plenty of. Steel we don't. So steel and fury.
Eh,
Yeah. Because I was like, I
Whatever.
have one of
Agree to
those
disagree.
things. I don't. Okay. All right. Yeah. So
Um,
yeah. So and it is that point that for us, we hear clinking. Ha! Oh, yeah. Get it. Get it. Get it. Thank you.
fuck you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we hear
Thank
clinking
you.
of steel boots. Um, several and heavy. I'm moving on because I'm tired as fuck. Several and
I'm
heavy.
tired of your face.
Um, coming out from deeper in the forest.
Yes,
So
we hear
thinking of a lot
clinking.
of steel boots.
Yeah.
Um,
It sounds
Val-
like Devril walking in his full plate.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a lot
So-
of Deborah walking in his full plate. And so Val, oh, I see now. Val tosses a steel blade to Holo.
Yeah, and we
And then-
rush a broken steel sword to Hollow,
Yeah.
and she picks one up too, and everybody rushes downstairs.
Yep. And then we start hearing cackling coming out of the forest with, and yes, coming out of the forest are short figures. They're very fast. They're about dwarf sized, thin, and grungy.
Skinny dwarves.
Yep, skinny dwarfs, each wearing iron shod boots with spiked ends and a red long-tailed cap. They all have varying skin tone, and each carries a large halberd or scythe.
That is way too big for them.
Yeah,
Like way too big for
Like-
them. Like these are 4
even
foot.
big for a human.
Yeah, these are 4 foot nothings, like creatures, and they're carrying things that like a big ass man would have trouble carrying, like something Zyron would wield. Okay, like something
Yeah.
Devril and Zyron, just big ass things. So yeah, they carry halberds and scythes, and
Yep,
they
they
move,
are-
they move surprisingly fast. Evander knows what they are.
Holo does also, I think. Or no, Evander does because he was the monsters
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
These are these are red caps.
Yup.
They're strong and fast and mean, very mean, and they gonna fuck us up.
Yeah. They're strong enough to be able to rip a man apart with their
Two
bare hands.
pieces. Yep.
With their bare hands. And that despite their small stature, yeah, they're pretty strong and they're pretty fast. And that is where we left off
That's it.
our session. So
So
our first
it's
monster fight. First monster fight.
it's gonna start. The session's gonna start with the monster
With
fight.
oh, it's
It's been a long time coming.
it's good. This is what I was saying earlier too. We already talked about this, but I was super stoked on monsters and forests, like as a PC, maybe not as like a character, but as a PC I wanted to, because you can only fight humans so much before it gets a little boring. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I like the mythical stuff, and because this is such low fantasy, I'm super stoked and just want to can we just stay in the forest? Can we just live in the forest? Just let's do it.
Fantasy time. Well,
Yeah.
you could have been an elf,
Yeah.
but no.
Anyway, but yeah, that is it for us. We will see you lovely people on this Sunday for Sunday Night RPG. Any closing words from you?
Nope.
Wow. All right. Okay. That's it, guys. And we will see you next time in the next one. Peace.
Oh my goodness.
That purring, man. That purring.
So loud.
It's just like a little, like it's constant.